Alcohol ban era in USA. Introduction. In 1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution went into effect in an attempt to ban alcohol from the country for good. It didn't work. Instead, it led to one of America's most notorious eras of organized crime and bootlegging, along with a black market for drinks that was far more dangerous than anything before Prohibition or since then. Prohibition is the period from 1920 to 1933 in which the production and sale of alcohol was prohibited by law in the United States. Prohibition was a period in which the production and sale of alcohol was prohibited by law in the United States. The temperance movement had been lobbying for such a ban since at least 1826, but it was not until 1919 that Congress passed the 18th Amendment to the Constitution, which established national prohibition 1 year later. The law also made it illegal to buy, sell or manufacture alcoholic beverages within the United States, though those who were already in possession of liquor were allowed to keep it. However, this proved difficult because there was no way for officials to enforce compliance with these rules on their own. Instead, they relied on individuals reporting others' violations by signing affidavits against them under threat of fine or imprisonment if they refused. The law also made it illegal to buy, sell, or manufacture alcoholic beverages within the United States. Prohibition was the period from 1920 to 1933 in which the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcohol were illegal in the United States. The law also made it illegal to buy, sell, or manufacture alcoholic beverages within the United States. During this time period, there were many social problems that occurred because of prohibition. Some of these included an increase in crime rates, increased use of drugs such as cocaine and heroin. The 18th Amendment was repealed by Congress on December 5, 1933, which ended all forms of prohibition within America. Many people who supported this ban believed that it would stop all crime and social problems, including prostitution and drug use. The Prohibition era was a failed experiment that did not achieve its goals. Although it was expected to stop all crime and social problems, including prostitution and drug use, it actually created new problems. Many people who supported this ban believed that it would stop all crime and social problems, including prostitution and drug use. They thought that if alcohol were illegal, then the country would be better off because there would be less crime committed by people under the influence of alcohol. However, this was not true at all. In fact, during this time period there was more violence in society than ever before because people were still drinking illegally, but now without any legal consequences for doing so, you could get arrested. It didn't work. The ban on alcohol created more problems than it fixed. The ban didn't work. The number of people who drank illegally increased, and deaths from alcohol-related causes rose dramatically. While the government had hoped that by outlawing alcohol it would reduce crime, this was not the case. Instead, organized crime networks flourished in America during Prohibition as they took over production and distribution of illegal liquor. It's hard to say whether or not Prohibition was worth all these problems because we can't compare our current situation without knowing where things would have gone without a ban, and we can't do that. However, if you're going to make an argument against something like this happening again or even just suggest changes, you need evidence based on logic rather than opinion alone. Bootlegging, selling, or trading illegal liquor became common. Popular slang terms for bootleggers included hooch peddlers, swill slingers, and moonshiners. Bootlegging, selling, or trading illegal liquor became common. Popular slang terms for bootleggers included hooch peddlers, swill slingers, and moonshiners. Bootleggers were called hooch peddlers. Swill slingers sold bad liquor on purpose to make money by getting people sick so they would have to buy more of their better quality product. Moonshiners made their own alcohol illegally at home and sold it for a higher price than legal liquor stores could afford to charge because they didn't have any taxes to pay on the product itself. The sales tax was only added later. Mobs used violence against any police officers who tried to enforce prohibition laws, even though there were a lot of them, up to 30,000. During the time of Prohibition, there were many corrupt police officers who did not enforce the law. This was because they had ties with organized crime and could be paid off by them. The mob outnumbered the police force by a large margin and could easily kill any officer who tried to enforce prohibition laws. Also, it would take too much time for a single officer to arrest someone for drinking or selling alcohol. Therefore, most cops just let people go if they were caught breaking this law. Finally, even though officers were paid well enough during this period in history, around $1 per hour, they weren't paid enough money to risk their lives while trying to uphold something that wasn't even fully supported by society at large. There were many court cases involving manufacturers versus government agents. Most courts ruled in favor of the manufacturers. The law was poorly written and it gave manufacturers the upper hand. They used this to their advantage by arguing that they were not in violation of the law because their product was not intoxicating or alcoholic. The government wanted to stop people from drinking alcohol, but they didn't want to hurt the economy by banning all alcohol production completely. The 18th Amendment was ratified in 1919 and took effect nationwide on January 16, 1920. The Volstead Act, which defined what was considered legal or illegal under Prohibition, was passed along with it. Both were designed to make sure that nothing changed after the adoption of Amendment 18, even though everyone knew it wouldn't work without enforcement at all levels of society. Conclusion. The Volstead Act was a law passed along with the 18th Amendment, which made it illegal for people to buy or sell alcohol. The Volstead Act defined what was considered legal or illegal under Prohibition, even though everyone knew it wouldn't work without enforcement at all levels of society.